It's fight week, and welcome to the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, which has hosted so many big fights, and another big one this weekend. So Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed 168-pound champion, takes on Jaime Munguia, and it is press conference today. Welcome inside the ballroom here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Adi Oladipo, the Latin State Sergio Mora, Chris Mannix. Feels like this has crept up on us. We've had so many big fights, right, in the last few months. Obviously, last weekend was a big one, the weekend before that as well. But here we are, Canelo. And Chris, I want to come to you because me and you've been talking about everyone seems to be searching for the new face of boxing. The old face is still very, very much here in Canelo.
Yeah, the old face is still putting 20,000 plus fans into a stadium, doing big numbers on pay-per-view, and still fighting in fights that mainstream fans are interested in. And this is a fight I think a lot of fans are going to be interested. Jaime Munguia is 43-0. He is young. He is fresh. He is going to bring the fight to Canelo in ways that I don't think fighters have taken the fight to Canelo over the last couple of years. You look at his run of recent opponents. They've been good opponents, but a lot of times we see guys trying to fight more to survive than to actually win. I mean, Jaime Munguia is not fighting to survive. Jaime Munguia, I promise you, is coming to Vegas to win.
Yeah, I think if you're lucky enough to watch all Munguia's fights, you know he only fights one way, and that's forward. Not as reckless as he used to be, though. Now with Freddie Roach, I feel like he's walking forward with a bit more sense.
No, the thing about Freddie Roach is they put all the work in at Wild Card Gym, and offense is his defense, but they do it with precision. They don't do it recklessly. So Munguia is one way. He has one gear, and we know that's forward. The thing about Freddie Roach, he does it behind a jab. He does it with distance. He does it with timing. It's just not Mexican style. It's new age Mexican style, and he doesn't smother his punches. That's what I think has been the biggest thing with Jaime Munguia. It's the fact that he gets on the inside. He's still powerful, but he's not smothering that power. You know, I used to see a lot of that, and a little bit more jabs as well. No, he's refined now. Jaime Munguia has gotten a little bit more refined, but then he still goes back to his old ways, and that's the problem sometimes.
Best performance so far in the, I'd say short career, it's a long career, but a young career of Munguia. This performance against Ryder?
Absolutely. Ryder was the most accomplished fighter that Jaime Munguia had faced to date. He was a legitimate 168-pounder who had just fought a good fight against Canelo Alvarez, and Jaime Munguia took him out with emphasis, took him out decisively in that fight. Sergio brought something up about kind of the way Jaime sometimes just gets a little crazy sometimes in the ring. And talking to members of Jaime's team this week, that's one thing they are wary of. They know they have a game plan. They believe they have a game plan that can work in this fight, but they're worried about when Jaime gets hit and it becomes kind of a dogfight to decide, forget the game plan, I'm just going to slug it out, and that is where he gets into some trouble. Yeah,
that's a danger for him, isn't it? Especially this all-Mexican war. Everyone's been building up to it. We've been talking about it for ages. This is Canelo's first Mexican opponent since Julio Cesar Chavez, and you do wonder if Munguia, Junior, let's get that correct, and you do wonder if that might be just a bit too much for Munguia, right? The excitement of fighting someone that he's been watching and looking up to for years.
Yeah, but you know what? That's how superstars are made. You know, you dream of this moment. You dream for the Las Vegas lights, and you want the pound-for-pound fighter in front of you. I mean, look, it's a payday like unlike any other payday he's ever had. So they groomed him for this position. Now it's here. Is he going to shine under the lights, or is he just going to wither away? That's what makes Canelo Alvarez so special. Turn on the lights, and they don't get any brighter, and he shines. Munguia, on the other hand, he's had good moments and he's had bad moments. But the thing that I want to see is how is he going to react once he gets hit? You know he could take a punch, but is he going to go forward and go after it, or is he going to shell up and start jabbing and not wanting to exchange with Canelo?
Well, the question of levels of competition, I think, is a real one. I mean, John Ryder is a good fighter, the best Jaime had faced up to this point, but you probably only classify him as a B-level fighter, especially at this stage. Jaime Munguia is going straight to an A-level fighter. He's going straight to one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. And I'm a firm believer that you've got to graduate certain levels. And I believe that Jaime in this fight is going to be jumping at least one, maybe two, in a fight against Canelo.
Where is Canelo as it stands right now? For so many years, he was pound-for-pound number one, right? And it felt like number two was so far in the distance. He has slipped. The guys, there could be 5 guys in front of him in that pound-for-pound slot. Still, obviously, number one at 168 pounds. But where is he compared to the Canelo that maybe fought Golovkin?
I don't think we're going to see number one or number two Canelo anymore, even if he has a sensational night. It's just, you know, it's the next phase of champions to come in. That's more of a question for Chris. I would say it's still top 5. He's still a top draw. He's the head honcho when it comes to pay-per-view sales. He demands all the big money. He's the one that puts people in seats. So whether he's top 3 or not, he's still the main draw.
Well, allow me to take that question then, Sergio. I will take and answer that question. I think there are two things different about this version of Canelo Alvarez and the guy we saw running through 160 and the early parts of 168. One, he is not the same kind of volume puncher that he once was. Look at the CompuBox numbers for Munguia and Canelo. Munguia averages about 40 punches per round more than Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is a much more judicious puncher at this stage of his career. Defensively, we all see the clips in the DAZN social media of Canelo slipping punches, moving, rolling with certain shots. He doesn't do that as much anymore. Keeps his guard up a lot more, parries punches, willing to absorb shots into his guard to get into the punching position that he wants to be in. So he is still an elite fighter, in my opinion. He's just a different one than one we've seen years past.
Is he a different one that can still compete with these young, hungry, big 168-pounders that are coming through?
You know, experience gets you far, but fighters turn old overnight. You know, no matter how great you are, one night you just get old. And this is a man in Canelo that's been fighting since he was 15 years old as a professional. Over 64 fights he has. It's incredible the run he's had. So just overnight, he can have one bad night. And we've seen shades of that. You know, we've seen shades of him not being that one, you know, the pound-for-pound #1 guy anymore. But overnight, fighters get old.
I would say we haven't seen shades of it, though, against anyone but an A-level opponent. We've seen it against Floyd Mayweather. We've seen it against Gennady Golovkin early on during that draw. And we saw it against Dimitri Bivol, who was a pound-for-pound guy as well. I think to beat Canelo, you still have to be one of the very best in boxing. And we're going to find out if Jaime Munguia is that guy, because he's going to face this type of pressure, in your face, throwing punches, all different angles, great speed. What Munguia is going to try to do, though, is duplicate what Dimitri Bivol did. Overwhelm Canelo with punches, put him back against the ropes, avoid getting hit with one of those big shots. Bivol had great footwork. Bivol had a great chin. We're going to find out if Munguia has that on Saturday night.
It's not always in boxing where the guy with all the belts or the girl with all the belts is the best in the division, right? Sometimes, almost by default, you can collect those belts. Is Canelo still the best 168
Oh, yeah, no, he's the best 168 pounder. Well, it's him and Benavidez. But we still got to give it to Canelo, not only because he's still the one that demands, you know, the most money and everybody knows him, but stylistically, he still has that talent. He's still feared. I mean, he's still feared. So I would say Canelo's #1 at 168.
Yeah, I would agree. Look, I think David Benavidez would probably agree, too. Benavidez has been great in some of his interviews where he said, look, don't put me on a pound-for-pound list until I've earned it. Don't say I'm better than Canelo until I've earned it. He obviously wants that fight. He considers himself to be in a fight like that. But I think for now, Canelo, all 4 belts around his waist, still the best 168 in the world.
Sergio, what's the want from Canelo? Every time I speak to these fighters that have become multi-weight world champions, I said the same thing to Terence Crawford the other day. What is the want? You've made loads of money if you're Canelo, more than anyone really in the sport apart from Floyd Mayweather. You're a multi-weight world champion. You're the king of Mexico. What's the want? Why does he still continue to do this?
It's all character. It all comes down to character and the temperament of a man. I know it sounds poetic, but it's the truth. Because when it comes to athletes, any athlete, any sport, we lose hunger, especially the more money they have. I mean, this is a man that's making hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, he has everything you could think of. He lives like a king. And for him to still go to the gym and sweat and bleed and punch, it's a rarity. So what is it? I don't know. I wasn't that great. I don't think a lot of people are that great. To answer that question, Canelo knows that answer.
I know the answer. Money.
It's always got so much money.
No, it's not money. Money motivates certain people, not Canelo.
But I cover LeBron James on a regular basis, and people are talking now about LeBron James. Would he take less money to stay with the Lakers? Of course he's not. LeBron James is worth $1 billion, and he's still not taking a nickel less than what the NBA says he can be paid by the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's not get this twisted. Canelo Alvarez is still looking for maximum dollar. That's why when you see him out there saying things like, hey, I'll fight David Benavidez, but I'll do it for $150 million. Yeah. He is putting a dollar figure on. Let's not overthink these things, guys. Like, he is putting a dollar figure on what it will take for him to get in the ring with David Benavidez because he still wants to make maximum money.
And he still is making maximum money, and he'll do so this weekend as well. Let's look at the tail of the tape for both of these fighters, Canelo versus Munguia. And as you're looking at the tail of the tape here, Chris, what's the one thing that does stand out, the obvious?
I think age is the obvious one. 6 years younger for Jaime Munguia. The reach certainly could be a factor because Munguia doesn't necessarily want to fight on the outside, but he wants to use the full length of that reach to keep Canelo from counterpunching him over the course of this fight. And that's the big concern they have inside Munguia's camp. Is he going to be hit with a big counter shot?
For me, it's none of those numbers. To me, it's who takes a better punch, and I think that's going to be Munguia. At this stage, Canelo takes a great shot. No one's ever put him down. I mean, the size of his neck, you could tell that he takes a big punch, but so does Munguia. So I think whoever takes a better punch here, I mean, those numbers are great, but this is Mexican style. These are two fighters that are going to bring that Mexican style to them. You're going to get hit. So I think whoever takes the best body shot and whoever takes the best chin shot, that's gonna tell early.
You don't even believe that.
Yeah,
you
I
even
don't believe that
Munguia,
you think Munguia takes
hold on. You think Munguia takes a better punch than Canelo? When was the last time you saw Canelo wobbled? I can name it. It was Jose Miguel Cotto here, and I think that was back in 2008. Since then, he has been in with some of the biggest punchers in boxing. Gennady Golovkin 3 times, Dmitry Bivol, Sergey Kovalev, and he has not been so much as rocked in those fights. You have called many fights, Sergio Mora, where Munguia has been rocked.
Has Jaime
and
Munguia
hurt.
been dropped?
No,
he has not.
Has he been hurt?
Yes, he has, but so has Canelo, but he just hides it differently. Look, here's the thing. If a person hasn't went down, if a champion on the championship level like Jaime Munguia hasn't been put down, you got to give him credit. He's had over 40 fights. He can take a big punch. Downstairs is where it's going to be the issue. So, yes, I believe exactly what I'm saying.
5th round of Jaime Munguia, Sergey Derevchenko. Munguia was in trouble in that round, Sergio. And I've never seen Canelo in trouble.
Look, he's been in trouble, but he hasn't been down. That's all I'm saying.
Neither is Canelo.
These are two guys that could take big punches. Whoever takes the bigger punch, we're gonna find out in the first half of the fight. That's gonna tell a lot in the second half of the fight.
I don't disagree, I don't disagree with that assessment. I just think that Canelo takes a lot bigger shot than Munguia does, and I think Canelo only needs one shot to put Jaime Munguia down.
Against bigger punches as well. We've seen that with Canelo. The bookies suggest this one will go the full distance to 12, right? I think that's the favored bet. You kind of gave a little look there. Are you thinking this goes in the distance?
I got a hot take for you. If this fight goes the distance, Jaime Munguia is going to win. Because I think Jaime Munguia is going to land a lot more shots. He's going to throw an overwhelming number of shots. I think the big fear for Munguia is while he's doing it, is he going to get hit with something titanic that puts him down the same way Sergey Kovalev got put down here in Vegas a few years ago. I think Munguia has a great chance to win a decision. He just has to get there.
Do you agree?
No, I don't, because Canelo carries his power.
I like what you guys are doing. This is good.
No, but here's the thing, it's because Canelo carries his power into the championship rounds. He knocked out Kovalev in the 11th. He knocked out Caleb Plant in the 11th. This is a man that carries his power. He knows how to fight small. He knows how to turn it on when he has to. Munguia is going to be there to get hit. That's what I'm talking about, the chin. Who's going to take a better shot? It's going to go into the championship rounds, and I won't be surprised if Canelo hurts him in the championship rounds.
When you look at the 168-pound fighters that Canelo has fought, obviously that run where he got all the belts, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, Jamel Charlo, Gennady Golovkin, where does Munguia rank in that?
Right now, I'd put him in the middle of that pack. We are all kind of tantalized by Jaime Munguia's talent, right? By his punch output, by the power he's shown in these fights. But you are kind of what your record says you are. And Jaime Munguia has built that record on the backs of B and C level opponents. Just a reality. You know, his last fight against John Ryder, that was a good fight for him, but not a great one. You look down that list of 168s, you're talking about like Gabe Rosado, who started his career at 154. It was at the end of his career when he fought Jaime Munguia. Canelo is beating young, fresh guys that are at or near the prime of their career. Callum Smith, in his prime, undefeated when he fought Canelo. Billy Joe Saunders, in his prime, undefeated when he fought Canelo. Like, Canelo's beating guys that are legit. I haven't seen that yet from Jaime Munguia. It doesn't mean he can't be great in this fight, but you can't go into it just blindly believing that you're going to see it because we haven't seen it yet.
I mentioned at the top of the show, like, Las Vegas is the home of big-time boxing. We've seen some fantastic all-Mexican wars here. Speak to us, Sergio, about the importance of Canelo finally facing another Mexican, what it means for Mexico.
Well, listen, Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence Day, May and September have always been Mexican holidays and Mexican-American holidays. It's huge, not only for Mexican-Americans here in the States, but in Mexico as well. This is Canelo, the face of boxing and the face of Mexican boxing. And to have two Mexicans actually, you know, putting it all on the line, this is going to be what everything's about. I mean, all eyes are going to be on boxing right here, Las Vegas. It doesn't get bigger than two Mexicans. I mean, I can't wait. It's going to be the toughest type of test for both fighters because of the date that they're fighting on. They have a lot on their shoulders, a lot to prove. I mean, it's a great thing.
Yeah, here we are seeing some of those fights on Mexican Independence Day, and Canelo that one against Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, there's been some special performances. That was incredible. Yeah.
Of Billy Joe Saunders.
Billy Joe Saunders hasn't fought since.
Yeah. A lot of guys don't fight for a long time fighting Canelo. They get that paycheck and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to go back down to previous earnings. But Canelo's one-punch power is legitimate. John Ryerty busted up early in that fight. We saw Callum Smith he avoided those shots, but his arm was a mess in the aftermath of fighting Canelo. Billy Joe Saunders didn't come out of the corner after he took that one shot from Canelo to the face. His power is still very much there, and the delivery system with which he gets it there is very much still intact. The speed is still real with Canelo.
What is his biggest asset now? I mean, I feel like he can do everything, right? And you're going to 64 fights as a professional, but is it his experience? Is that his biggest attribute now that he has?
Well, it's experience. It's the fact that he knows how to fight small. It's the body shots. He's still explosive. It's still the speed. But yeah, it's basically knowing when to turn it on, knowing and gauging how to turn on in a certain round that's close. So that's all experience. But I still give him credit for how explosive he is. You know, the body shots. I mean, it takes a lot for him to muster up that type of speed and explosion. You know, round after round after round for that many years. I mean, it really is incredible.
And don't discount the experience factor when it comes to the atmosphere on fight night. Canelo has been there, done that in these types of events in Vegas, 70,000 plus in Texas when he fought Billy Joe Saunders. Jaime Munguia has fought in front of some good crowds, but he's never fought in front of a crowd that's going to be like this. Jaime Munguia has fought in some big fights. He's never fought in a fight as big as this. And one thing we've talked about, Munguia's team wants him to be under control in this fight. They want him to stick to a game plan in this fight. It's going to be a lot of energy, Sergio, coursing through the body of Jaime Munguia when that first bell rings, and that could manifest itself as maybe a fighter that gets out there and tries to do a little bit too much.
The David Benavidez question hasn't avoided Canelo this week. He's had to answer some difficult questions as to why this is Jaime Munguia and not David Benavidez. Some people have even accused him of ducking David Benavidez, which has never really dogged Canelo, right? He fights anyone, the resume says so. How difficult has it been for Canelo to kind of deal with those questions?
Not difficult at all. He knew they were coming. He knows how to answer them. And look, a reality of this situation is if David Benavidez had kept his super middleweight titles that he had twice over the last 4 years, more likely than not, Canelo would have fought him. But I don't think Canelo's going to avoid him. I think he's just waiting for the right money.
All right, see Miguel Flores behind us, ready to get this press conference started. So let's head over to your MC for this one. It is Miguel Flores.
How many rounds did he go? Did he train? Did he spar?
In 1 week we did 36 rounds.
Okay.
And we averaged, and when we got to see, we averaged 12 rounds a month.
I'll tell you right now. Nice. So altogether, what?
So we did that twice. And then we started at 6 rounds.
Slight delay here. Obviously, you can see Miguel Flores ready to host the presser. Everyone is there, Chris, apart from the fighters, the main people. No Jaime Munguia as yet, no Canelo Alvarez as yet as well. Is this just mind games? Are they just trying to stall each other?
But if I had a nickel for every time a fighter was late for a press event, I'd be a very rich man.
You're a very rich man already.
At this point, I wouldn't go that far. You know what I love, and I know Sergio can relate to this. I mean, Freddie Roach on the side of Jaime Munguia, done a great job with him, did in his last fight, now working this one. You've got Eddie Reynoso and Chepo Reynoso up there with Canelo Alvarez. And at a time, Sergio, where there's so much turnover between fighters and trainers, while we're watching a nasty split unfold between Errol Spence and Derek James, these three seem to have forged the perfect working relationship.
It goes back to what I was talking about with character. You know, it goes back to, you know, the character of a man. You know, when he starts making money, you start discovering what type of person he really is.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas, Nevada, as Canelo Promotions presents our final press conference for the All-Mexican Showdown, the undisputed super middleweight world titles on the line. Let's meet our main event fighters. First, with the record of 43 victories, 34 wins by knockout, no defeats. He is the former 154-pound world champion, the undefeated all-action fighter from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, Jaime Munguia. All right, now it is time to meet the king of boxing with a record of 60 victories, with 39 of those coming by knockout, 2 defeats and 2 draws. He is a 4-division world champion, and he is the current undisputed super middleweight world champion, El Orgulloso Guerrero de Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, Saúl Canelo Alvarez. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here. Alongside both of these men, first with Team Munguia, we have the chairman and CEO of Golden Boy Boxing with Oscar De La Hoya, the CEO of Zanfer Boxing Promotions, Fernando Beltran, Hall of Fame trainer Freddie Roach. And then for Team Canelo, we have Louis De Cubas Jr., alongside trainers Jose Chepo Reynoso and manager and trainer Eddie Reynoso, as well as Canelo Alvarez. So we are set to go. This fight week will be a 12-round main event this Saturday, May 4th, from the T-Mobile Arena. It is a PBC pay-per-view event on Prime Video. You do not need a Prime membership to access the pay-per-view. You can also purchase the pay-per-view on DAZN.com. You can also contact your local cable and satellite providers to order the pay-per-view, as well as ppv.com. This event is promoted by Canelo Promotions and TGB Promotions in association with Golden Boy Promotions and Zanfer Boxing Promotions. If you do want to be inside the arena, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, you can still purchase tickets at AXS.com. We also want to thank all of our sponsors for helping make this event a jam-packed week here on Cinco de Mayo Fight Week. First, we want to thank Corona Premier, the exceptional light beer. It's fight night. Light it up. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, only in theaters May 24th. VMC Tequila Cocktails, El Origen Ante Todo. And Value Casa de Bolsa. El Mexicano brand products, bringing authentic sabor to your table. Somos El Mexicano. And O'Reilly Auto Parts, professional parts people. And sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Now, before we begin our Q&A, we do want to let you know, for those of you that aren't here and are at home watching on the PBC stream, you can feel free. We are going to pick one question on the stream for each of our fighters, Jaime Munguia and Canelo Alvarez, to ask later on in the press conference. So send in your questions. It will be randomly chosen, and we will ask both Munguia and Canelo thoughts from the fans. But first, let's meet some of the men that are heavily involved with helping put this mega fight together. First, this man has a part of some of the biggest events in boxing history. He is the president of TGB Promotions, Mr. Tom Brown.
Thank you, Miguel. Not quite the same as Ray, but we'll live with it. Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. This Saturday night at the T-Mobile Arena, 2 all-action Mexican warriors collide for the bragging rights of a proud fighting country in one of the most anticipated Cinco de Mayo fights in years. This all-Mexican showdown will be nonstop action from the opening bell, as both fighters so the world, the only thing that matters is victory. Canelo Alvarez is regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time, not just in America, but worldwide. He's already had an incredible career, winning multiple world titles across 4 weight classes. He's the first and only boxer in history to become a 168-pound undisputed champion. He's coming off a dominating performance last September over Jermell Charlo in a historic battle of undisputed versus undisputed. And on Saturday, we have undisputed versus undefeated. And I can promise you one thing about this fight. It will be a great fight. But there will be no passing of the torch. Not on this weekend, not in front of this crowd. Cinco de Mayo weekend belongs to the pound-for-pound king, Canelo Alvarez. We'll see you all Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And now we will hear from a man that has been heavily involved in Jaime Munguia's career. He has been there from the beginning. Let's please welcome the CEO and president of Zanfer Boxing Promotions, Mr. Fernando Beltran.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's a real honor being here in this tremendous fight, representing Mexico on Cinco de Mayo. I believe that it's going to be a sensational fight, and it's for pride in country, because both fighters got a lot of pride. Both, like Tom says, this is the undisputed against the undefeated, and we came here to win. Since they offered us the fight, we took the fight because we know that we can win this fight, because Munguia is a young fighter. He's 27 years old. He's taller, and he's got better reach, and he's a real warrior. He was Fight of the Year last year, and honestly, he came this weekend to win this fight, and we're gonna win this fight. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Quiero darle la bienvenida a toda la prensa. Estamos muy orgullosos y muy contentos de estar en esta gran pelea. Creo que esta pelea es por honor y patria, porque los dos peleadores tienen mucho honor, y la verdad, en una fecha tan importante para México como lo es el 5 de mayo, creo que los dos van a defender ese gran honor que tienen, y creemos nosotros firmemente en que podemos ganar la pelea. Desde el momento en que nos ofrecieron la pelea, la firmamos porque creemos que la podemos ganar. Jaime es un peleador fuerte, es un peleador más alto, más joven, con más alcance, y lógicamente por eso creemos que podemos ganar la pelea. También pelearon con un mismo peleador en un lapso de 8 meses, y pues ahí vimos que teníamos el alcance de poder levantar la mano y poder decir que estamos a la altura del gran Canelo Álvarez, a quien respetamos, y lógicamente es un gran legado el que está haciendo todavía y que está escribiendo, y pues estamos muy orgullosos de estar en este gran evento. Les deseamos lo mejor también al Team Canelo, pero venimos a ganar, vamos a ganar, y el sábado que viva Jaime Munguia. Muchas gracias.
And now we will hear from boxing legend as well as chairman and CEO of Golden Boy Promotions. Please welcome Oscar De La Hoya.
Thank you very much. Please sit down. Thank you very much for being here for what I truly believe will be the changing of the guard of Mexican boxing from Canelo Alvarez to Jaime Munguia. My sole purpose in this promotion is to support Jaime, an undefeated, incredible talent who deserves the stage and spotlight at this point of his career. However, I would be remiss if I didn't respond to the man I used to promote. He seems to have trouble remembering who helped him become a true global star. To be clear, I have nothing but respect for Canelo Alvarez as a fighter. His record and abilities speak for themselves. But he has spent much of the last 2 months insulting me rather than promoting this fight. So I'll make it a little bit easier for him. Yes, I have faced a lot of challenges in my life. Yes, I've been to rehab several times. Yes, there were some really low points in my life, and yes, there were times that work was not my priority based on my mental health, which I had neglected for so long. But that doesn't change the fact that Golden Boy built Canelo Alvarez, period. The company you fought under for decades has always had one name, and it's mine. So put some fucking respect on it. As for Jaime, he has always dared to be great, just as he's this Saturday night. And this serves as a bit of a full circle for him. Remember when Jaime was 21 years old, volunteered to step in against Triple G, and Canelo failed 2 drug tests? Though Jaime wasn't allowed to fulfill his dream, 2018, on Saturday night, he will do just that. Fulfill his dream and be world champion.
Tienen que escribirle lo que tiene que decir este pinche maricón, cabrón. Tú lo escribes. ¿Qué lo escribes, pendejo? Tú no escribes nada, cabrón. Tú no haces nada. O sea, tú no haces nada. Yo lo escribí. Eres un pendejo, eso es lo que eres. Eres un baboso. Eres un pendejo, cabrón, porque están nomás ahí. Los que hacen todos son los que están detrás de ti. Tú eres un pendejo nomás con la imagen, idiota.
Sí.
Cabrón.
Siéntate, güey.
All right, let's have everyone take a beat a little bit, and we will move on with our show. So first, now we want to turn our attention to a man that's recently joined Jaime Munguia. He has helped him in his last fight, and now he looks to help Jaime Munguia accomplish his lifelong dream to become an undisputed world champion, defeating Canelo Alvarez. Let's please welcome the man who has been involved in so many legendary fights. He has trained so many legendary fighters. Please welcome Freddie Roach.
Hello, my fighter Jaime, he's doing really well. We had a great training camp for this fight. He's really at the top of the game right now, and we're ready for this fight. Canelo's a very tough opponent, and we know that. But we're ready for whatever he brings to the table, and he's going to be the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. And now we will head on over to the other side, who will be going and trying to match wits with Freddie Roach. It should be a battle between 2 incredible trainers. First, I want to acknowledge Jose Chepo Reynoso, who is a huge part of the Canelo team and playing a role into it. So he will say a few words.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes a todos ustedes, todos y todas ustedes. Contento de estar esta tarde porque hace 20 años, en este mes de abril, llegó al gimnasio Julián Magdaleno, un muchachito de escasos 14 años.
So I'm really happy to be here with you all. Good afternoon, everybody. And, you know, I'm glad to be here because 20 years ago, at just 14 years old, a young man called Julián Magdaleno came to my gym.
Mi hijo Eddie y yo lo recibimos porque su hermano Rigoberto lo llevó, nos había platicado maravillas de él, y bueno, llegó al gimnasio ese mes de abril.
So my son Eddie and I, we welcome him because, you know, Rigoberto had, you know, suggested that he could be someone that we wanted to meet, so we welcome him with open arms.
Y ver todo lo que ha provocado a lo largo de su carrera, pues me llega la nostalgia, pero le doy gracias a Dios por todo lo que ha sucedido. Y les digo, si hay alguien que conozca a Saúl perfectamente, somos mi hijo Eddie y yo.
I can't help but be nostalgic a little bit that, you know, like going by the 20 years that have already passed and thinking about everything that we've gone through together. And I can tell you something, that nobody knows Saúl better than my son Eddie and I. We're really proud of him.
Sabemos lo que se ha batallado, lo que batalló, y sabemos el trabajo que costó llegar hasta donde estamos ahorita, donde está ahorita, y es trabajar, trabajar y trabajar. Son muchos años de trabajo, pero lo que lo tienen a donde está ahorita. Y donde está ahorita es una gran oportunidad de seguir demostrándole al mundo la clase de boxeador que es él, y aparte, el rival que tiene, un gran rival, merece la oportunidad, y son dos guerreros mexicanos que se van a enfrentar, donde es la meca del boxeo mundial, como es aquí en Las Vegas.
Have there been challenges along the way? Sure, but in the end, we surpassed everything that we had to face because we worked, and now Saul here has the opportunity to continue writing his story, to continue crafting his legacy, and he has a great opponent in front of him that also deserves the opportunity to go after his own glory. It's going to be a battle between two Mexican fighters, two Mexican warriors, and it's going to be something that you don't want to miss.
Seguramente el mundo va a ser testigo de una gran guerra entre dos mexicanos. Por eso, que viva México y que viva el boxeo mexicano. Muchas gracias.
It's a sure thing that the world is going to witness a war between two Mexican fighters. So, viva México.
And now let's bring up his son, who has helped guide Canelo to being the best fighter in boxing pound for pound, manager and trainer Eddie Reynoso.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. Muy agradecidos con todos los que están aquí, con todos los que hicieron también posible esta pelea, el equipo de Jaime Munguia, Fernando Beltrán, DAZN, PBC. Pues no queda nada más que decir que estamos listos, hicimos una gran preparación. Sabemos que Jaime es un gran peleador, que tiene un gran equipo, por eso nos preparamos a conciencia y nada más esperar que el sábado digan viva México, porque aquí lo que va a ganar es el boxeo mexicano. Muchas gracias, mucho éxito para nosotros, éxito para Munguia, que baje bien del ring, que baje bien del ring de Saúl, y que sea una gran fiesta del boxeo mexicano, porque va a quedar en la historia del boxeo mexicano esta pelea. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Ray, for being here. And this is going to be a great fight between two outstanding Mexican fighters. I want to thank Team Munguia, I want to thank DAZN, PBC, and everybody that made this fight possible. And in the end, what's the most important thing is that you're going to see a war between two Mexican fighters that hopefully they both come out of the ring like healthy and well. And in the end, the real winner is going to be Mexico. And that we want, for the end of the fight, for everybody to be able to say, Viva Mexico.
All right, and now it is time to hear from our main event fighters. First, with the record 43 victories, 34 by knockout, he's the former 154-pound world champion from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, Jaime Munguia.
Bueno, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes a todos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Gracias a todos los que hicieron posible esta pelea. La verdad me siento emocionado, me siento muy feliz de que pues ya estemos cerca de la hora de la hora. La verdad creo que tuvimos una gran preparación. Quiero agradecer también a todo mi equipo por todo su apoyo durante todo el campamento. La verdad que lo vuelvo a repetir, me siento feliz, me siento emocionado. Ya quiero que llegue el día y pues esperen todos una gran guerra mexicana y pues viva México. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I'm so happy, so excited. It's almost fight day. I want to thank my team for being behind me the whole way, and you can expect a full-out Mexican war. So tune in. You're not going to be disappointed, and I'm looking forward to what's going to be a great fight on Saturday night.
And now it is time to meet the face of boxing, the 4-division world champion. He recently dominated the undisputed 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo back in September. He is the undisputed super middleweight world champion, the WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO super middleweight world champion, Saúl Canelo Alvarez.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Gracias a todos por estar aquí. Como siempre, bien preparado, con mucho entusiasmo, contento de poder presentar esta pelea entre dos mexicanos, la primera vez en la historia, peleando los 4 títulos, contento por eso, que estamos a unos días. Obviamente él viene a ganar, yo vengo a ganar, eso quiere decir que va a ser una gran pelea, ¿no? nos respetamos abajo del cuadrilátero, pero no quiere decir que vengamos a jugar matatena, ¿no? Venimos a pelear, venimos a darlo todo. El sábado vamos a ganar contundentemente y a eso venimos, que todo el mundo disfrute y que sea una fiesta mexicana. Y para este imbécil intento de gente que tengo aquí a mi izquierda, que no se le olvide que yo ya vine siendo el Canelo a Estados Unidos y que solamente lucró con mi nombre. Nunca perdí un solo centavo, sino nomás ganó dinero. ¿Ya le pagaste a Golovkin lo que le quería robar? Sí, muy bien, porque sí, también, pero si no hubiera metido a mis abogados, me lo robas. Es lo único que hace este hombre es ser una lacra del boxeo, robarle a los boxeadores. Para el que esté con él, meta por favor ahí a sus abogados, porque seguramente les está robando. Es lo único que viene a hacer al boxeo.
You know who your daddy is.
Y a lo único que viene es a robarle la atención a Jaime Munguia. No viene a promoverlo. También le roba la atención a la gente que hace las cosas para la cocina. Ya no saben si hacerlas como consoladores o como cazuelas o algo. Porque acá se las mete el muchacho. Gracias a todos. Nos vemos el sábado.
All right, now we got a few questions for both of our fighters as we are getting set. First, we'll get a translation from Martin Batar.
All right. So, as far as the fight, it's going to be a great Mexican war. And like Munguia and I, we both come to win. But I can guarantee you that I'm going to win, I'm going to prevail, and it's going to be decisive. So you guys are gonna see a great fight. I want the fans to really enjoy Saturday night. And I'm proud to be here and to make history with both Mexican fighters fighting for the 4 belts for the first time. And then as far as what De La Hoya said, that, well, you know, like Canelo has his grudges against De La Hoya, and, you know, where like he doesn't believe that what De La Hoya said was warranted, and, you know, where he thinks that, you know, with the Golovkin fight, that there were some things that Mr. De La Hoya said or did that...
He tried to steal money, and he's a fucking asshole. That's what I say. He's a fucking asshole. He tried to keep the attention for him, not for Munguia. He's a fucking asshole. He steals his fighters. That's what he do.
Focus on your fight.
Okay, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. Go ahead, Miguel.
Fucking pussy. Motherfucker.
All right.
I'm here for you too, motherfucker.
Focus on your fight.
All right, let's turn our attention back to Canelo and Munguia as we are going to open things up for some questions. Thank you, Martin, for translating, and you'll continue to translate throughout our questions. So, question to Canelo. You have been a part of so many major events, Cinco de Mayo, an all-Mexican showdown. Is there a little bit of extra getting ready for this fight because it is an all-Mexican showdown on such a big fight weekend for Cinco de Mayo?
I'm feel better than ever, and I'm ready for this fight, and I know it's going to be a great fight. I don't know how many rounds, but it's going to be a really good fight for the Mexicans, for the Mexican history, and I'm proud about it. I'm proud about it.
And do you believe, because a lot has been said of your experience versus youth, do you think experience is going to give you the advantage Saturday night?
I don't really pay attention. Is younger or older? I'm different. I'm Canelo. I'm different, and I don't care. I think my experience, my talent, my intelligence is different.
For Jaime, you heard Canelo. He said he's different. He is, you know, you've had 43 fights. You're undefeated. Former world champion, but this is no doubt the biggest stage you have been on of this magnitude fighting Canelo. How are you looking forward, and how have you prepared for this week?
¿Cómo te estás preparando para esta semana, Jaime?
No, bueno, la verdad yo creo que sé que Canelo es un gran peleador, sé que tiene experiencia con grandes peleadores, grandes nombres. Yo también, pues, no he tenido experiencia así con grandes nombres, pero creo que lo que tengo y hasta donde he llegado me lo he ganado a pulso. Y para que el sábado sea una gran noche.
Well, Canelo has a great deal of experience. He has gone up against great fighters. I may not have that resume where I've gone up against so many great fighters. But what I do have is youth on my side, and what I want to do is be able to showcase my capabilities and what I'm able to do inside the ring to be able to come out with the win in the end.
Now, this is your second fight with Hall of Fame trainer Freddie Roach. Has he spoke with you? Has he talked with you on, what to expect for a big fight week, because he's been a part of so many major fights in boxing history? What have you learned from Freddie, especially in particular for this camp and this fight week?
Bueno, yo creo que, la verdad, creo que me he acomodado muy bien entrenando con Freddy. Creo que es una gran persona, es un gran entrenador. La verdad, creo que pues nunca se deja de aprender. Yo creo que trabajamos muchas cosas en general en este campamento y pues vamos a demostrarlas el sábado.
I feel great training with Freddie. He's not only a great trainer, he's also a great person as well. We worked on so much during our training camp, which has been amazing. And you're going to see on Saturday night everything that we've learned throughout this preparation, and the fans are going to be pleased.
Now back to Canelo. For this particular fight, we know Jaime in his history, he likes to press forward, he likes to throw a lot of punches. Are you expecting a physical fight Saturday night?
Yeah, that's what I expect, and I really like it. I like his style, and I hope he doing the same. I really like it because it's going to be a great fight if he come with that style.
Now, you spoke about how this is such a proud moment for Mexico. Do you feel like it's a little bit tough because Munguia has his countrymen and his fans that, follow him, root for him, and then you obviously have a giant fan base in Mexico that follow you, and now you're kind of putting those two against each other? Or do you feel it's more of a celebration on Saturday night?
No, I think I feel happy for that. It's more the celebration. This fight is for them, no matter what they support. I think this fight is for them, and I feel proud about it.
Now, Jaime, yesterday at the Grand Arrivals, Canelo said, he feels great coming into this fight, and he believes he can finish you inside 8 rounds. What's your response?
Bueno, pues la verdad que yo creo que va a ser una gran pelea. No creo que sea así como lo dijo. Pienso lo mismo, pero al contrario. Entonces, creo que eso me gusta. Me gusta que venga con esa mentalidad de ganarme, de noquearme. Yo también voy con la misma mentalidad.
I like the fact that he thinks that way. I like the fact that he wants to knock me out, but I come with the same mentality. I think the same for him, but the other way around, that I'm going to knock him out. I think it's going to be a great fight, and you never know what can happen.
This question's for Freddie Roach. This is your second fight with Jaime. How have you been able to get more comfortable with Jaime? And what have you seen that's a little bit different during this camp compared to the first camp you had with him?
The difference is his work ethic, training every day, sparring partners. We had 6 sparring partners for this camp, and we ran through all of them. And he just did really well, and he's ready for this fight. He's a winner, and he's going to show it.
Now, my question on Canelo's side is to Eddie. You have been up against some incredible trainers, and now you're up against Freddie Roach. What is it like to try to match game plans with a guy like Freddie Roach?
Te has enfrentado a varios entrenadores de alto calibre y ahora Freddie Roach va a ser otro de ellos. ¿Cómo se siente el tener que emplear una estrategia, comparar estrategias contra otro gran entrenador como él?
De la misma manera que sentí cuando le ganamos el primer campeonato en mi carrera como entrenador, con el Chololo Larios.
It feels the same way that when I won my first title as a trainer with Alarios against him. It feels exactly the same way.
Contra el Rey Vázquez.
Against Rey Vázquez.
And now, back to, Munguia, as we look forward to Saturday night. A lot of people have talked about the experience, but this has been a dream of yours, since you started. You were on the same card as Canelo when he fought Triple G back in 2018. What is it like now to step into the ring against Canelo on Cinco de Mayo, no less?
Bueno, sí, fue la última vez que peleé en Las Vegas. La verdad fue pues algo muy emocionante, fue un gran escenario, pero pues ahora el estar aquí pues representando como estelarizando esta función, la verdad que me siento me siento contento, me siento feliz y muy motivado.
I feel very happy and very motivated to be heading this great card in this great stage here in Las Vegas. What happened back then was amazing, but this is another level, and I'm really glad to be here and really excited to show you guys what I can do.
How do you prevent yourself, because you have been very respectful towards Canelo in the build-up to this fight. You acknowledge how he is an incredible fighter, he's a legend, going to be a future Hall of Famer. But we've seen guys in the past get in a little bit trouble, almost giving them too much respect once they're in the ring. How do you prevent that from happening on Saturday night where you give them too much respect?
En el pasado, los oponentes de Canelo quizás le tuvieron un poquito demasiado respeto a él dentro del ring. ¿Cómo vas a hacer para, entre comillas, faltar el respeto dentro del cuadrilátero y poder superar esa barrera de la admiración?
Bueno, yo creo que pues arriba del ring ya es otra cosa, ya pues se pierde el respeto. Obviamente pues estamos en un deporte donde los dos queremos ganar y salir con el brazo en alto, pero yo la verdad pues como siempre lo he dicho, lo respeto abajo del ring, pero arriba del ring pues se termina el respeto.
I've always said it and I'll say it again. Outside the ring, he has all my respect. Inside the ring, the respect goes out the window, and that's what's going to happen on Saturday night, because once I step in there, it's a war.
All right, I believe we have now some fan questions for both Munguia and Canelo. So they've been sending in their questions as they've been watching the press conference, and I believe we have one from Roshan Gurung. He says, Jaime Munguia, given Canelo Alvarez's status as a boxing superstar in Mexico, it's likely that your family, like many others, has been following his career closely. How does it feel to now share the ring with someone who may have been a household name for you growing up?
¿Cómo se siente el haber seguido a Canelo a través de los años, seguramente junto a tu familia, viendo las peleas frente al televisor, y que ahora lo vas a tener enfrente como un oponente? ¿Cómo se siente enfrentar al ídolo?
Bueno, la verdad me siento contento, me siento feliz conmigo mismo, con toda la gente que me ha apoyado, porque pues gracias al esfuerzo y al trabajo que hemos puesto, pues hemos llegado hasta aquí y la verdad me siento muy contento por eso.
I feel happy, very proud of myself and the team that has brought me along to this point, because everything we have done has brought us here, and that fills me with pride.
All right, and now I think we have a question from a fan who's been watching for Canelo. It is from I'm Not Joss. Canelo, do you think Munguia has the power to put you into trouble, or will your experience stand out and lead you to victory?
No, of course he has power. He's a good fighter. But I think I'm a strong fighter and I can handle that.
All right, we'll wrap things up with this. Jaime, May 4th from T-Mobile Arena, Saturday night, after the fight. What is the result? How does it end?
¿Predicción? La predicción para la pelea del sábado, ¿cómo termina? ¿Cuál es el resultado?
Bueno, pues yo obviamente vengo a ganar. Sé que eres una pelea dura, pero vamos a salir con el brazo en alto.
I've come here to win. It's going to be a tough fight, but in the end, it's going to be me with my hand raised.
Same question for you, Canelo. How does Saturday night end?
Lo que dure la pelea va a ser muy buena pelea. No se la pueden perder.
Let the fight last however it's going to last. You're not going to want to miss it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from both Team Munguia and Team Canelo, as well from Jaime Munguia and Canelo Alvarez. It should be shaping up to be a tremendous main event for Cinco de Mayo fight weekend. Once again, this is presented by Canelo Promotions. It all goes down from T-Mobile Arena May 4th. You don't want to miss it. We're going to have both fighters now face off and get one final shot. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes, Chris, these press conferences can be just formalities, right? And let's be honest, sometimes a bit boring as well. It's almost as though Oscar woke up and said, okay, this one isn't going to be boring today because I'm going to steal the limelight and steal the show.
Oscar De La Hoya woke up and chose violence this morning. That was as direct a commentary at Canelo Alvarez as we've seen in quite some time. Look, these two have been sniping back and forth through the media for years now, but this was the most direct confrontation we have seen between two of the biggest names still in the world of boxing.
It was personal. That was personal. That's a personal beef. That's what we call it, you know, back in the day. But yeah, that's exactly, you know, there's resentment, there's real anger there, and obviously it's brewing.
Yeah, and it was pre-planned as well. I mean, as Manik said that he woke up and chose this because he wrote it down. He was reading off a script. This is someone that came here and wanted to get a lot off his chest, Chris.
Yeah, and look, there's a method, I think, to the madness for Oscar De La Hoya. Like, Canelo is the superior fighter in this matchup. He is still a pound-for-pound guy, and Munguia is the young fighter looking to get into a good scrap with Canelo. I think for Oscar, you're trying to force Canelo a little bit out of his game plan. You want to make this fight a little bit more emotional for Canelo because maybe that's going to lead to some mistakes in the ring.
So
We don't normally see, sorry, Sergio, we don't normally see Canelo react like that. Maybe the Caleb Plant fight, obviously, and the famous little 1-2 he threw to Caleb Plant. But we've never seen him swear and shout and be aggressive like that.
No, he got out of character, and I think if that's what Oscar De La Hoya wanted to do, he got it. I mean, Canelo really was angry and really went at him, got up from his chair. Normally, Canelo's like real cool and tempered, and he does all his talking and fighting in the ring. Not tonight. That's a different Canelo right there. It seems like Oscar De La Hoya took a page out of Ryan Garcia's promotional book because he's firing shots. That was crazy press conference. That was real. There's real anger, passion, and resentment up in the dais.
And unfortunately, there's real hate there as well. And it's a shame because, as Oscar pointed out, these two have worked with each other for a few years. They've been successful with each other as well, put in some big fights. And it is a shame, but boxing's full of that kind of story, isn't it, where you see promoters and managers fall out with fighters.
Look, and peel back the layers a little bit. Back in, it was around 2012, 2013, I'm not sure the exact date, Canelo Alvarez kind of saved Golden Boy Promotions. At that point, a lot of fighters were leaving Golden Boy to go work exclusively with Al Heyman. That was back when there was a conflict between Golden Boy, specifically Oscar, and Al. They had a separation. A lot of fighters went with Al. Canelo stayed. If Canelo doesn't go, I don't know where Golden Boy is right now. He became the tentpole, and he carried that company for a number of years. And really, was it 4 or 5 years ago, you had a falling out between these two guys that obviously is deep-rooted, that obviously involves money, as we heard Canelo talking about, Canelo's belief that Oscar didn't promote as seriously as he was fighting. So there's a lot of layers to this bitterness between these two guys.
Yeah, we are hearing that Oscar De La Hoya is going to join us in a few moments as well, so it'd be good to kind of hear some of the answers to those questions. But it made for a better press conference. Let's be honest. I know sometimes we don't have to see this in the sport of boxing. It's a respectful sport, but sometimes you do need to sell the fight. And as we both kind of pointed out, that's probably a few more pay-per-view buys because of it.
No, normally fighters choose violence. You know, they'll actually push each other, sometimes even swing at each other. This was verbal violence, and it was heated because we never seen that side of Canelo.
Yeah, Oscar didn't back up, did he?
No, he didn't back up. You gotta remember, Ade, yeah. Oscar is a born fighter. He's from East LA, where I'm from. He's not gonna back up from no one, and Canelo did the exact same thing. That's Mexican blood boiling passion right there. That was real serious.
Oscar is joining us right now. Sergio, make sure you stay with us as well. Let's squeeze Oscar into this one.
Speaking of the Golden Boy from East LA.
Looking sharp, Oscar.
So tense?
Looking sharp, Oscar.
Why is everybody
Why
so
serious?
Do you know what?
Serious?
As you were, Oscar, as you were getting to the middle, I did say to Sergio, I was like, he's going to say something here. I did say that right, Sergio.
I thought we were going to say something. So he's the one that predicted it. We loved it. Where did it come from?
Came from the heart. It came from the truth. That's who he is. I mean, what people remember or don't remember, that Jaime Munguia wanted to fight Triple G when Canelo failed 2 drug tests. That's the truth. I mean, I'm not making things up. You know, now I have a good one for you. I have a better one for him. I've never, ever in my life, because we live in a system here in the United States where the government is always watching you, is always taking care of you. And what do? All I do is work for the fighter. All I do is make sure the fighter makes the most money. Him saying that I steal from a fighter, that's defamation. I don't like that.
We were talking just before we came up here about the layers on this relationship because Canelo stayed with you back in the day, back when you had a conflict with Al Heyman, some of the fighters left. Canelo decided to stay. What is at the root of this animosity between you two?
Well, my history is that I critiqued his trainer Eddie Reynoso. I believe when he fought, who did he fight? He fought somebody where he looked bad. And I said to a reporter, I said, you know what? Maybe Eddie Reynoso needs a little help, just the way I needed help when I had 7 different trainers, and they took offend. They were offended by that, and now I'm the bad guy. So look, everything that I say is the truth, and if it rubs you the wrong way, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry.
Some will say, Oscar, that this is you maybe doing the mind games. Obviously, Munguia won't get involved in any trash talk whatsoever, and you're almost doing this for Munguia. Take Canelo out of his game. We don't really see Canelo angry like that. We rarely see it. Is it a bit of mind games as well?
Well, look, I'm just a promoter trying to promote my guy and promote a fight. I mean, look, again, it's like being at church again, you know. And I somebody has to spark something, right? And all I did was talk the truth. That's it.
You're certainly a little more than a proner in this context, because we said this. You woke up this morning and chose violence with that speech. You had a speech prepared. You knew exactly what you were going to say. You knew exactly what you were going to bring up. Why did you choose this moment to confront Canelo head on?
Well, because obviously, look, fight week is very important. Fight week, like you said, yes, this is a mind game. This is you want to get into a fighter's head. You want to, you know, if fighters are not going to talk bad about each other, then okay, somebody has to, you know, speak the truth. And I came out and said what I felt, and you know, it obviously worked.
A couple of weeks ago, not many people gave your fighter Ryan Garcia much chance against Devin Haney. As we approach this one, not many people give Munguia a solid chance against Canelo. Why does Munguia get the job done for you on Saturday?
I think there's a lot of variables that come into play here. Obviously, the youth is a big one. The wear and tear on Canelo is a big one. He has operations on his knees. He has operations on his shoulders. I know all of this. You know, when you sleep with silk pajamas every night, it's hard to wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. and run your usual, you know, 5 miles as fast as you can. So, you know, not only that, but Munguia is getting better and better and better and better. Obviously, I can say he's the bigger guy. He hits hard. He has a great chin. But having Freddie Roach in his corner is a huge, huge plus. And what I've been seeing in the gym from him, jab, 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 footwork, like Bivol, you know, something that Canelo cannot take, cannot handle, some kind of movement, you know, and then Canelo with his punch output, he only throws, what, 10, 15 punches around, where Munguia is throwing over 50, 60 punches around. So all that you take into consideration, I give him a shot.
Not only that, Oscar, but we're debating this. Who do you think takes a better shot, Munguia or Canelo? Who has a harder chin?
You know, it's Canelo takes the shot, but he knows how to divert it, roll off it. Yeah, exactly, that roll, right? Whereas Munguia takes the shot, he doesn't roll it, and it looks violent when he gets hit, but he still takes it.
So who takes a better shot?
I do think that Canelo can possibly take the better shot, just for those reasons.
Okay. I wanted to hear from the Golden Boy. I said Munguia, but okay.
Okay, no. I mean, it's a valid point. Look, I think chin's going to play a big part.
Absolutely.
One variable,
but don't forget about the body.
No question. One variable I think in this fight, though, is going to be control, right? Like, Jaime Munguia is going to be on a stage he's never been on before. Sure. He's going to be facing an opponent on a level he's never faced before. And we've seen Jaime come into a fight with a game plan. And then as soon as he gets hit, the game plan kind of goes out the window, and he starts to scrap there. How important do you think control and following that game plan is going to be in this fight?
Well, that's exactly, and that's a great point, and that's exactly why he fought Devorachenko. That's why he fought John Ryder. Yeah, we did see those qualities in him where he gets hit and he gets a little out of control. But he's, like I said, he's getting better. Freddie Roach has him on point. Freddie Roach has him tight. Freddie Roach has him disciplined. So I strongly feel that Saturday night we are going to see a Jaime Munguia that we've never seen before. It's the question's always, will he elevate? Will he be a deer in front of headlights? You just never know. But what we've seen from Jaime in these last few fights leading up to this fight, I strongly feel that Jaime will take whatever comes at him.
Do you see slippage in Canelo? Are you watching a fight that you still think is at the very top of his game?
There's a lot of slippage. Absolutely. I mean, first of all, he's walking on quicksand now. And that's a huge, huge plus for Jaime. I mean, look, obviously what Bivol did to him was a master class. What he put, what he accomplished against Canelo, who's a hard hitter. But look, Canelo is is a one-punch trick pony. You know, meaning he relies on his big right hand. He relies on his left hook. You see it coming from a mile away, but it's so hard that sometimes fighters freeze. Will Jaime Munguia freeze? That's the question for Saturday night.
Canelo said some things about you on that stage, bringing up stuff from your past as well. Did any of it bother you?
No, because my speech was like Eminem, hey, I went to rehab. I did this, I did that. Now what?
Eminem from 8 Mile, yeah. What do you have against me, right?
Come on, now what are you going to talk? What? Now you're going to say that I'm stealing from fighters? Good. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
I know everything you have to say about me. Yeah,
exactly.
That's good. That was good.
I should have dropped the fucking mic.
Oscar, thank you very, very much. Looking sharp as always.
Thank you.
I can't imagine what suit you're going to wear on Saturday.
Oh, it's a surprise.
Something special. Oscar, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You can still drop the mic. You can still drop it.
Easy.
He's slow.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you. There you go. Confident Oscar De La Hoya.
I love that.
Very confident.
I love that. I mean, he's gleaming. You could tell that he loves his job as a promoter, and he loves this moment. I mean, normally when you have ex-fighters, they want to put themselves in the limelight. A lot of people say Floyd Mayweather does that. He does. Oscar De La Hoya does it in a different way. He just sold more pay-per-views by doing that, and we never seen that side of Canelo. I mean, that's a promoter doing his job. I love this side of Oscar De La Hoya, the smile, what he's saying, his speech, and how he started. He threw fire. He threw wood in the fire. I love it.
Yeah, he's a confident man, Chris, isn't it? As I mentioned, he's coming off a fantastic last couple of weeks. He's got Ryan Garcia, beat Devin Haney. Right. I mean, if you weren't on Cloud 9 before then, you are going to be on Cloud 9 now.
No question. This would be probably the best 3-week run in the history of Golden Boy Promotions. To have Ryan Garcia win a fight like that. Lesser show, Jose Ramirez, his first fight with Golden Boy, that was a success. And then to be the promoter of the fighter that knocks off Canelo Alvarez, still a pound-for-pound talent, would be a feather in their cap, but it is going to be incredibly challenging. I could not disagree more with the assessment that Canelo Alvarez is a one-trick pony. Absolutely, positively.
We kind of smiled and looked at each other.
He is not. He is a far more than a one-trick pony. He goes if his one trick is body shots plus head shots plus speed plus good defense. If you want to lump all those into one trick, then yeah, Canelo is a one-trick pony. But he is going to bring stuff to this fight against Jaime Munguia that Jaime Munguia has never seen before.
Yeah, should be a good one on Saturday, an undisputed fight. More undisputed fights coming your way as well. Don't forget, May 18th, the undisputed heavyweight titles on the line. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, May 18th. The fight of the century. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Tyson Fury looks to reign as king of the division. But Alexander Usyk is undefeated and coming for the crown. For the first time in over 20 years, all the belts are on the line. Ring of Fire, live on DAZN Worldwide, May 18th. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Hey champ, I know why you're here. You're a born winner, the top dog. You have a proper punch on you. It only takes one, eh? But I know you're not all about throwing haymakers. You know your bobs from your weaves, and you know DAZN's got over 150 fights every year. Over 150. Proper stat. All the action, the chaos, the comebacks, with non-stop knockouts. Big fights every week. So get those gloves back on. Together, we're boxing royalty. DAZN, undisputed.
Big schedule coming your way on DAZN. Hernandez versus Lugo on Saturday from Mexico. And if you like your X Series, Mr. Salt Papi is back. He takes on former MMA fighter Amadeus Ferrari. X-fighter, X Series fan, Sergio? Was you not thinking about doing a bit of X Series?
Past tense? No. Present tense.
Present tense.
I still will do it. Come on, show me the money. Show me the money.
He wants that Jake Paul fight. He wants it. Claudia Trejos has joined us now. Claudia was doing the translation for me. As Oscar and Canelo were going at each other, and some of the words, let's just say, we're not past the watershed yet to trying to translate what they said, but that was interesting, wasn't it?
It was quite interesting. I have yet to see Canelo really go to that extent. And Chris and Sergio can attest to the fact that for years we were expecting personality to come out of Canelo. Well, he gave us 16 years worth of personality today. Yes.
Well, he did, didn't he? I mean, again, look, a lot of people have asked for Canelo to show a bit more personality. We have started seeing it. Remember when Demetrius Andrade kind of barged into the press conference, Caleb Plant, but no one seems to get under his skin more than Oscar. Nobody.
Yeah, and I think that's been brewing for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, for years we were talking about this. I mean, Canelo was once, the savior of Golden Boy back in the day, and then years later, this whole thing just comes unraveled, and comes unraveled to the point where it's not just about a typical promoter-fighter dispute. Like we saw last weekend, Jose Ramirez talking about leaving Top Rank, didn't agree with the finances of his deal. This wasn't about the finances of a contract. There were some deeply rooted personal feelings in what we saw from Canelo up there on stage.
Away from the cussing and the backstabbing and the talking, what have you made of this matchup? Jaime Munguia, what an opportunity for him on Saturday against Canelo Alvarez. Two fighters that you've covered their whole careers. What do you make of the matchup?
I think it's a great matchup, and I agree with what Chris has to say. Obviously, Canelo has many flying hours. He's definitely now a one-show type pony. Absolutely. This is many tricks and many, many opponents of high caliber. So with that being said, let's not forget, Canelo was once at that same position when he fought Floyd Mayweather, and that brought his boxing to a completely new level. So we're looking at a very parallel career, and I had a chance to speak to Oscar, and I said, do you remember when you actually faced Julio Cesar Chavez? Very parallel careers. There's always that opportunity that a young man who's hungry, who's got all the grit and the will, wants to face their idol. Just like Julio did when he faced Oscar, just when Canelo faced Floyd, and today is Jaime Munguia facing Canelo.
And if you want to play out that analogy, Canelo, he looked as bad as he possibly could against Floyd, quite frankly. He had a bad game plan, he had a bad performance.
It was a bad day.
He tried to outbox the boxer in that fight. He learned a lot from it, came back, won big fights against the likes of Erislandy Lara, against Austin Trout, eventually against Gennady Golovkin. Hopefully for Jaime Munguia, he doesn't have to learn those lessons in the ring and comes with the right game plan against Canelo.
Sergio, obviously, look, Canelo's fought every style you're going to, right? 64 fights as a professional. You've seen everything. Who of recent can you compare to Munguia, maybe? What type of style, in terms of fighter, is Munguia that Canelo's fought recently?
Recently, I would say stylistically, a little bit of Derevyanchenko, but shorter. Derevyanchenko, Callum Smith, but shorter. He has the height, but Smith was a southpaw. I don't know. It's a weird one because he hasn't faced a Mexican fighter like this since Chavez Jr. So I would have to say Chavez Jr., but Chavez Jr. didn't come to fight against Canelo. Munguia is going to come to fight. I think he's going to see someone for the first time.
I think stylistically, he's comparable to Dimitri Bivol in how he's going to try to fight. He's going to try to overwhelm Canelo with punches. We know that Munguia averages about 80 punches per round. Canelo right around 40 punches per round. Munguia doubles up Canelo in body shots. You go back to that fight that Dimitri Bivol fought against Canelo Alvarez. He wasn't trying to win with one shot. He was trying to win with 20, 30, 40 punches more per round and wear Canelo down. Now, I don't know if Munguia, who's about to step on the stage, has the same skill set as Bivol, but I would think that's an applicable or close to applicable comparison.
And here comes the man, Jaime Munguia.
Here comes the main man, Jaime Munguia. We're going to try and squeeze in.
Yes,
Jaime.
We can switch.
Mannix is gone. Jaime steps in. Claudia, you can be my translator here as well.
Of course.
Jaime, massive opportunity for you. You've been wanting a fight against Canelo for years. Now, just a few days away, how are you feeling?
Estás solo unos días de la oportunidad que llevas bastantes años pidiendo. ¿Qué se siente cuando estás solo a días de la pelea?
Bueno, la verdad que me siento feliz, me siento emocionado, contento y pues confiado en mi preparación y la verdad pues feliz.
Go. You can translate. You got this.
He said he's really relaxed. He feels really good where he's at. He had the excellent training camp. He's just happy. He's in a peaceful place. And we all know anytime a fighter's, I'm saying this now, anytime a fighter's in a peaceful place, he's a dangerous fighter.
What did you make of the Oscar and Canelo back and forth? You're right there, you're watching it. What did you make of it?
Pues la verdad, yo creo que pues son problemas de ellos. Yo la verdad que no me meto en eso. Yo gracias a Dios no tengo problemas con nadie. Entonces, pues a ellos que se arreglen.
That was a personal issue between both of them. That's not the way I handle my personal business, and I don't air my dirty laundry, so that's up to them.
Yeah, such a big fight for you this weekend. Obviously, this is a different type of fight week build-up. You've had big fights before, but this is the biggest. What does the fight week build-up like this do for you?
Has tenido peleas grandes anteriormente, pero probablemente esta es la pelea más grande de tu carrera y has trabajado mucho para promocionar, para llegar a este punto. ¿Qué significa para ti estar aquí?
Bueno, pues para mí es un gran orgullo el llegar hasta aquí, ya que pues de ser un niño que soñaba con ser campeón del mundo, después de ser campeón del mundo me seguí esforzando, seguí trabajando y y pues ver hasta dónde hemos llegado, la verdad que estoy muy orgulloso.
He says he's really proud of the success that he's had, not only winning a championship, but defending his titles and everything that he's accomplished in his life. He looks back and just really proud of what he's done.
Most fighters can dream and visualize the fight, dream and visualize winning. Do you understand the significance of what Saturday will mean if you do beat Canelo?
Que mucha gente visualiza y obviamente sueña con una oportunidad como esta. ¿Tú has visualizado y has soñado con esta oportunidad y lo que significaría si le ganas a Canelo?
Sí, así es. Yo creo que, pues la verdad sí me he visualizado y obviamente siempre ganando, y yo creo que pues después del sábado va a empezar una nueva era de Jaime Munguia.
Yeah, I visualized it, and obviously I had tunnel vision, and come Saturday night, there's going to be a new champion.
I love it. The translations for us is working. This is fantastic. You're asking the questions, you're answering. Jaime, good luck on Saturday.
Muchas gracias.
Buena
Thank you
suerte,
so much.
Gracias.
Mucha suerte,
Muchas
Jaime.
gracias.
Siempre un placer tenerte con
Igualmente,
nosotros.
muchas gracias.
Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Gracias.
And your English is getting up to par.
It's coming.
Vale.
It's coming.
Permíteme.
You know what I really like as well? His weight looks good. You look at him, he doesn't look drained in the eyes. Obviously, 168 for him is absolutely fantastic. Fight week has started. Don't forget as well, tomorrow the undercard press conference gets underway. So good to see some of those fighters. Looking at Barrios will be there as well. One of the fighters I'm really looking forward to seeing kick on at 147 pounds. Then we have the weigh-ins as well, May 3rd. May 4th, big one, is fight day, live prelims, and obviously fight night as well. As you can see, coverage starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. for you guys back home staying up. Chris, Munguia looks good.
Look, he's filling out into 168 pretty well. He's always been a big guy for whatever weight class that he's going to fight in, but he's filling out really nicely.
Look at this fight card coming out all the way as well. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. We briefly spoke about it. Saturday, May 18th, undisputed. 5 versus 5. Frank versus Eddie, June 1st. And this one, I really can't wait for that, man. Look at that. Estrada versus Bam Rodriguez. Bam coming off that magnificent win against Sonny Edwards. We haven't seen Estrada since that win against Chocolatito, so it's been a bit of a long time. I'm sorry, you were saying about Munguia, about how good he looks as well.
Yeah, I think he started to fill into that frame pretty nicely. He's always been a huge fighter for whatever weight class he was in. It was almost miraculous that he was able to make 154 as long as he did. He gets to 160, and he's looking big at that weight class as well. He's had a couple of fights now at 168. I think you're starting to see the result of him filling into that frame, feeling comfortable training at that weight. I think you're going to see the very best of Jaime Munguia. The question is going to be, is the very best of Munguia still able to beat this version of Canelo?
Yeah, this version of Canelo, and question marks about what version of Canelo is. We'll have in debates. Is it 80%? Is it 70%? Is it B? What we do know, he is still the man, 168 pounds. Fight week has begun, and it kicked off with a bit of a bang, didn't it? Oscar versus Canelo. I can expect more of this week, so make sure you stay locked in for DAZN. Undercard press conference coming your way tomorrow, and then we really ramp things up with the weigh-in and then fight night. From myself, from Sergio, from Chris, from all the team here, we'll see you tomorrow.
Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. One is a legend, undisputed king of the division, icon of the sport. One is undefeated. 43 wins, dangerous, destructive, and coming for all the belts. One will rule. Canelo versus Munguia, May 4th. Buy now at DAZN.com.